Hello, welcome to Holistically Speaking. I'm your host, Morella Devost. I have a little bit of a different show today. Normally I have a guest, but I wanted to do a show about natural digestive wellness. In other words, how to help your digestion be as strong as it can be with food, with supplements. This is a topic that I've been talking about a lot recently. I've been teaching classes about it, and I've also been working with a lot of people on their digestion. The reason why I wanted to do a show about it is because your health begins with your digestion. Your health is only going to be as strong as your digestive system is, because every single cell in your body is made from the foods that you eat, and if your digestion isn't working well, if it's not strong, you're not going to be able to absorb those nutrients to create those beautiful healthy cells everywhere in your body. So when your digestion starts to suffer, your body starts to be unable to heal tissue, to create the healthy bone cells, to regenerate tissues properly, and so everything else suffers. And the other reason too that startles me the most and makes me extremely passionate about talking about digestion is the fact that so many people are dealing with digestion that's less than great and just thinking that that's who they are. So things like chronic gas and bloating and chronic burping or stomach acid, things that start to get, a little bit louder than just bloating and gas. But all of these things are messages that your digestive system is giving you. Your tummy's telling you something, and you can listen to it and start to pay attention to see what's going on, what needs to change, and what you need to give it. So today I want to share with you some of the very basic tools and support that I use for the digestive system for my clients. In the past couple of years, I've had lots of clients with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, lots of clients with acid reflux. They seem to be really, really common lately. And we've found incredibly wonderful, powerful, and simple ways to help their digestions get stronger, to help their stomach get stronger, their intestines, and everything improves as a result. So if you're dealing with chronic bloating, gas, acid reflux, or heartburn, if you have had issues with indigestion, that feeling in your stomach after you've had a meal that things aren't moving through, it's like everything's still sitting there, you feel full for an extended period of time. Or if you're dealing with stomach pain, you could be having pain in a variety of parts in your abdomen, and it could indicate different things. Pain on the right side of your abdomen might be a gallbladder talking to you, saying that something's going on. Pain right in your solar plexus, like what we call the mouth of the stomach, that could be your stomach telling you that there's something going on in your stomach lining. And pain in different parts of your abdomen could be your small intestine, it could be your large intestine. So where your pain might be is indicative of what might be going on, what part of your digestive tract might be needing some support. But any of these things, the burping, the gas, the indigestion, the pain, the heartburn, the acid reflux, or constipation, or bathroom emergencies, needing to run to the bathroom. There's some of you watching this who know what that means, that you can't go anywhere without being sure that there's a bathroom 10, 20 feet from where you're going to be. None of those is a way to live. Some people just think that their gas, their bloating is a part of who they are. That's just, I know people who say that that's just who they are. Well, no, your digestion is telling you something, and there's something that you can do about it to help it improve. So let's start with at the beginning. I have some really simple basics that I want to tell you about, how to help your digestion get a little stronger at all the different stages of your digestion, from your mouth all the way out the other end. And I'll also talk about some of these more common afflictions like the acid reflux or constipation, or even some things that some of you with irritable bowel syndrome may want to consider. So let's start with what are the basic building blocks of your digestion. Is what maybe you've heard you've heard the words your digestive juices. I like to think of your digestive juices as 4 key juices. They're not all necessarily, liquid. So the first one is enzymes. And it starts in your mouth, in the saliva in your mouth. It's loaded with enzymes. Some of the enzymes in your saliva start to assimilate starches and sugars very quickly. It's why you very quickly can absorb sugars from fruit and carbohydrates, and even a piece of candy or orange juice. You can start to absorb them very quickly as soon as they enter your mouth, because the enzymes in your saliva start to help the digestive process of those sugars. So enzymes begin in your mouth, but you find enzymes everywhere in your digestive tract. And they're a critical element in helping to break down the food particles into distinct nutrients. So one of the key issues that people start to have in their digestion is they're not chewing. People eating too fast, they go chomp, chomp and swallow and then wash it down with some water. Not chewing is one of the fundamental issues with a lot of people who have acid reflux. In fact, every single client I've had with heartburn and acid reflux, whenever I ask them, are you chewing your food thoroughly? The answer is no. They say, I'm actually a really fast eater. I inhale my food, I'm always eating on the run. So when you don't chew your food, you don't get all of the enzyme action of your saliva. So enzymes are the very first digestive juice that starts to work on your food. The second one is stomach acid. So once your well ground up food reaches your stomach, stomach acid goes to work. And so one of the things that happens with stomach acid is that if you're not chewing your food thoroughly, if you're not grinding it to a pulp, you take a bite of your steak and you just go chomp, chomp and swallow, then you have a whole piece of steak in your stomach, and your stomach actually doesn't empty into your small intestine until everything in the stomach is kind of a sludge, a porridge consistency. So if you just went chomp, chomp and swallowed, what's going to happen is that your stomach is going to have to work overtime to generate extra stomach acid to now dissolve the steak that you didn't chew. So the first and best thing to do to support your stomach is to chew your food thoroughly, so that then your stomach acid is, sufficient, adequate to continue the digestive process of that mulch, of that porridge of food, and the acid is really mostly to help in the extraction of minerals. It's more like a chemical process that is happening with the acid more than the dissolving of food. So stomach acid is the second juice, and the stomach is supposed to be very acidic. We think that too much acid is a bad thing, but a strong stomach has a lot of acid. And we'll talk about the issue with acid traveling back up to the esophagus in a little bit. But the stomach is supposed to be acid. Then the next juice is what comes out of your liver and gallbladder. It's bile. Your liver produces bile, and I'm pointing to the right side of my abdomen because this is where your liver and gallbladder sit. And so your liver produces bile, and it produces it in large amounts, and it stores it in the in the gallbladder, so that when you eat foods with a higher amount of fat or oil, the gallbladder secretes or releases the bile into your small intestine. And the role of bile is to help emulsify fats and help to digest fatty acids, effectively extract the nutrients from fat, like omega-3 fats, which you may have heard of, and fish oil, and omega-6 fats, and healthy vegetable oils. These fats are essential for health, and bile plays a critical role in helping you digest and assimilate those nutrients. Bile also plays a huge role in helping to lubricate your intestines so that things can flow smoothly. Sometimes people have some constipation, and it might be because, they're not getting a sufficient flow of bile. So we've got enzymes, stomach acid, bile, and from your liver, gallbladder. And then finally, the fourth juice would be your intestinal flora. It's the thousands upon thousands, billions actually, of little bacteria that inhabit your intestines. It's like a little ecosystem, a little environment. And in fact, there's a group of scientists that are studying what they call the human biome. It's called the Human Biome Project, and they're actually finding that the billions of bacteria in our body contribute more genes to our health than the actual genes, our own DNA that we inherited from our parents. So think about that for a moment. The intestinal bacteria, along with tons of bacteria elsewhere in your body, are so important to your health that they're contributing their own genes. And then these bacteria in your intestine play a critical role in continuing to deconstruct the molecules of food into specific nutrients that can then be absorbed into your bloodstream. We don't have all of the enzymes to digest all of our foods, so the intestinal flora play a huge role in helping to break the food down to the level where we can absorb it. In the process, they also create vitamins for us to assimilate. They create some of the vitamins, and they also create some anti-inflammatory compounds, which are also incredibly beneficial for our health. And finally, the intestinal flora in your gut is your first line of defense in your immune system. Your immune system starts in your intestines. So strong intestinal flora is hugely important for digestion, for assimilating all of your nutrients, for creating vitamins, for creating anti-inflammatory compounds, and to strengthen your immune system. So the four juices: enzymes, stomach acid, bile, and intestinal flora. So strengthening or supporting these four critical elements in your digestion is a basic, very simple way to help you digest your food better. So if you want to, if we go through these again, to think about how do we support enzymes? Well, the first thing in supporting enzymes and getting enzymes in your food is that the only foods that are really strong in enzymes are raw foods. The minute that we cook our foods, once the temperature reaches 115 degrees or higher, enzymes are destroyed. So, we cook a lot of our food, but the more raw food that we can introduce into our diet, the more enzymes we'll be getting from the fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, and also from fermented foods. Fermented foods like sauerkraut has lots of enzymes. So that's one way to support your enzymatic strength. Another way is to get an enzyme supplement. So you may have heard of papaya enzymes. There are great enzymes actually to help digest proteins. And then there's pineapple enzymes. Bromelain is another wonderful digestive enzyme, and it's also known to help with inflammation. Then there's also enzymes that you can get as a supplement in a whole package. That, for example, there's one that I know called, the label says Omega-zyme, and this is just a broad array of different enzymes to help you digest carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So you can take a capsule like that, say after a Thanksgiving meal or a big meal. If you're feeling like your digestion just is a little bit sluggish, a little enzyme capsule can usually help to work things through. And so you're just naturally supporting your digestive system in the way that it would naturally work. So then our second digestive juice, stomach acid. The things that support stomach acid are really basic and simple: lemons and limes and apple cider vinegar. There's a couple different ways in which these supplemental foods help your stomach acid. The first way is that by the fact that they are acidic, they help to kind of bolster, shore up your stomach acid. So if your stomach is actually struggling in producing enough stomach acid, if you're noticing that you have indigestion, trouble moving things through your stomach, adding a little lemon into your meal or drinking a little lemon in a little bit of water before your meal, or a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, you can dilute it in a couple of ounces of water and drink that before your meal. And almost everybody notices an improvement in digestion. It particularly helps with the assimilation of minerals, like I mentioned before. You need really strong stomach acid in order to absorb minerals like calcium. If you have issues with osteoporosis or you're weak, you know that your calcium levels are low, work with your stomach to strengthen the stomach acid so you can absorb calcium better from foods like green leafy vegetables, which are a phenomenal source of calcium, by the way. So strengthening stomach acid is one of the first ways in which apple cider vinegar and lemons support your stomach. The second thing that lemons in particular will do for you is that they actually work as a wonderful antacid. And it sounds counterintuitive, but what happens is after you've had the lemon juice in water and it helped your stomach get to a nice level of acidity, that lemon is now going to trigger the production of bicarbonate so that if there's too much acidity, it helps your stomach self-regulate. And this is my #1 recommendation for people with heartburn and acid problems. It sounds like the last thing you would want to drink when you have heartburn, but trust me, if you take a half lemon, squeeze it in a tall glass of water, and you drink that, you'll be creating your own antacid and helping your stomach self-regulate. And it works wonders. So that was your stomach. Then moving on to the third juice, digestive juice, which is bile. What stimulates bile flow and stimulates the liver are bitter foods, bitter herbs, things like burdock root and bitter greens, spinach and kale, collards, and supplements like Swedish bitters. So when you take bitter foods like this, artichoke is another well-known food to support the liver. The bitter foods will stimulate bile flow and will help secrete additional bile when you eat your meal with a little bit of oils or butter or whatever fats, which are absolutely necessary. The bitter herbs will help the bile flow better and help you digest those meals. Sometimes people with indigestion, especially after a meal that's a little heavier in fat, they find that if you follow your meal with a little bit of Swedish bitters, maybe a teaspoon, they notice a significant improvement in their digestion. So that might be something for you to try. And then finally, when it comes to your intestinal flora, your gut flora, what supports that ecosystem is fermented foods. This is the traditional way in which we supported our gut flora, eating things like raw sauerkraut or kimchi if you are Korean or take to Korean food. It's fermented cabbage and radishes. Obviously yogurt, you've heard about yogurt, and there's some yogurt brands that are advertising as having additional probiotics. But the thing with all of these fermented foods is that the minute that we pasteurize them, which is done in commercial processing, when you pasteurize your yogurt, you're going to be killing off bad bacteria, if there are any there. And of course, you're going to be killing off the good bacteria that you want in your yogurt. So a pasteurized yogurt is always going to be a weaker probiotic. The best yogurt you could make or you could eat is the one you could make at home with a really wonderful, strong culture. You can find a starter culture and start making your own yogurt. Other fermented foods are kefir, kombucha, and they provide different kinds of bacteria. And then of course you can get a probiotic capsule, and it comes in a variety of formulations and strengths. And I always recommend, if you're taking a probiotic, rotating them around, because you want biodiversity in your intestines. And so the more that you can eat a variety of fermented foods, and if you're taking a supplement, switch your supplement around. So let's talk a little bit about different conditions for the next few minutes, give you some of my quick remedies that you can start trying out. The first one is, as I was mentioning, people who have heartburn and acid reflux. The first thing that you're going to want to find out is whether you actually have a problem of too much stomach acid or too little stomach acid, because paradoxically, the symptoms are really similar. There's discomfort in their stomach, there's usually like a burning sensation, and sometimes when people have low stomach acid, it can start to lead or contribute to the softening of the esophageal valve. The stomach is struggling so much, and it's really when that esophageal valve weakens and whatever acid you have in there, whether it's a lot or a little, if it starts to travel back into your esophagus, that's what we call reflux. So reflux isn't necessarily that there's too much acid, it's that it's traveling back up. And so that burns quite a bit. So the first thing to find out is whether you have too much or too little. You can do that in a home test with hydrochloric acid tablets, or you can do it also with apple cider vinegar. If you start adding a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar before a meal, and then the next meal you add 2, and then the next meal you add 3, if you notice that there's discomfort, it might be an issue of too much stomach acid. I'm just giving you a general idea of what you could do. The best way is to get this tested. So in either case, the lemon juice in water is going to be a wonderful support for your stomach, because as I mentioned, it'll support the natural acidity of your stomach, which it needs to be acid to digest your meals, and then it'll help to produce bicarbonate to neutralize any excess acid. My mother was one of my first clients in trying this because she had really severe acid reflux, and one night she finally tried it when she woke up in the middle of the night and didn't have an antacid to take, and she felt it was really burning. She was coughing, and she drank the water and lemon, and she said it worked like a miracle. So give it a try. And the other thing, of course, is chew your food. Hugely important for anybody with stomach acid issues. Now, when it comes to indigestion, if you feel like your food doesn't move through your stomach for a long period of time, obviously chewing your food thoroughly. Don't drink water or liquids with your meals. Well, that'll be an important tool to help you not dilute your stomach acid and help you or encourage you to chew your food thoroughly. So chew your food, supplement with the apple cider vinegar, enzymes, and the Swedish bitters, and see how it helps you through. So I want to show you a couple other resources and some slides that I have for you, and then wrap up with a couple other recommendations. So if you want to take a digestive health assessment, I have a really thorough one on my website, and that's transformation1.com/resources. And it just asks over 50 to 60 questions, maybe even more, and it helps you determine whether you have an issue of, say, too much stomach acid, low stomach acid, if it's a small intestine issue or a large intestine issue. So it helps you assess different parts of your digestive tract. And then there's a happy tummy program that's starting February 12. You can check that out if you have some digestive issues. Particularly IBS is one that does really well. People with IBS do really well in this program. And then I have some books on the next slide. Digestive Wellness, How to Strengthen the Immune System and Prevent Disease Through Healthy Digestion by Liz Lipsky. The other one is The Body Ecology Diet, Recovering Your Health and Rebuilding Your Immunity by Donna Gates. So you can just write Digestive Wellness by Liz Lipsky or The Body Ecology Diet by Donna Gates. And the last one is Gut and Psychology Syndrome, Natural Treatment for Autism, Dyspraxia, ADD, ADHD, Depression, Dyslexia, and Schizophrenia by Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride. It's also known as the GAPS diet. And these 3 books are my absolute go-to books for digestive wellness. These 3 women have done an incredible job of documenting how strengthening digestion improves everything from your moods to your immune system, prevents autoimmune conditions. So if you want to get some additional resources, get one of those books. And you can take, obviously, the health assessment on my website. So finally, to wrap up, I wanted to mention a couple things for bloating, constipation, and people with IBS. One of my favorite supplements is psyllium husks. It's a fiber supplement that absorbs an incredible amount of water, and it helps to move things through your colon really beautifully. It acts like a brush, like a broom, moving things out, and it feeds your intestinal flora. It's the favorite food. Fiber is one of the favorite foods of your intestinal bacteria, so it's a beautiful help for intestinal health. So again, really listen to what your digestive tract is telling you. It's giving you messages all the time. Your digestion should be smooth, seamless. You should not be noticing anything from the moment you eat your food until the moment that it's ready to come out. And it should not be an urgency. If you're constantly wondering where the bathroom is, where you're going to be able to run when you have this, kind of explosive episode, this is really a sign that you need to work on strengthening your digestion. You can do the assessment. You can get one of these wonderful books that I suggested and get some basic tools to start working your way to healing your digestive tract, because healing your digestive tract requires more than just avoiding the trigger foods that affect you. You need to rebuild your intestinal walls little by little. So again, the books are The Body Ecology by Donna Gates, Digestive Wellness by Liz Lipsky, and The GAPS Diet by Dr. Natasha Campbell McBride. I hope that you've taken, even if it's just a little tidbit or a little tip that you might implement to help heal your tummy and help to build a stronger immunity, a stronger body, and greater longevity. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you the next time.